When the apocalypse comes, stock up on supplies. Sorry, I have unlimited supplies from the start. Build a safe house. No need. I have a system-enhanced house. Under the disaster, order collapses, and humanity and beastliness intertwine. A bottle of water can make the school beauty lower her head, and a chicken leg can make the beautiful neighbor show off her talents, while others fight for their lives, risking their lives for a bit of supplies. I, Lin Feng, have long been free from worries about food and clothing. When others have recruited a few underlings and are fighting with cold weapons, I have an arsenal and body enhancement. The craziest thing is, after leaving the neighborhood, the scene gets more and more off. Seeing me surrounded by beauties and feasting on delicacies, other survivors are dumbfounded. Hey man, your home has become a nest of beauties, and you call this survival? It all started that night. My name is Lin Feng, an ordinary courier in Jiangxing. My parents died early, and I saved 200,000 to buy a house. But my girlfriend thought I was poor and ran off with a BMW driving guy. Life is just 2 words, failure. That night, I was lying in my rental reading a web novel called Rebirth in the Apocalypse. I'm going crazy. The protagonist's name was Zhang Genshua. When I saw that name, I couldn't hold it in and posted a comment mocking it. As soon as I posted it, my vision went black and I passed out. When I woke up, I was stunned. I was standing at an unfamiliar door, Building 1, Room 502, Longting Community. My head was buzzing with a bunch of memories that weren't mine. I had transmigrated to a parallel world, still as a courier. I was dumbfounded. So, I delivered packages in my last life, and this life too? Born to be a courier, huh? Before I could feel emo, a ding sounded in my mind, and a cold mechanical voice spoke. Ding. Detected host's physical body transmigration. The Apocalypse Awesome system is at your service. A system. The golden finger for transmigrators. I immediately perked up. And it's the Apocalypse Awesome system. The name sounds unorthodox. No, it sounds awesome. The system continued, saying that to ensure service quality, it had automatically corrected everyone's memories. I need to complete 3 activation tasks to unlock all functions. The first activation task popped up. Tomorrow is the apocalypse. Don't leave any regrets. Brave youth. Boldly confess your love to your crush, the school beauty. Task reward. Apocalypse Beginner Unlimited Supplies Pack. After reading the task description, I almost grinned from ear to ear. Confess to the school beauty and get unlimited supplies? The apocalypse is coming soon. What's face worth? Let's do it. I steadied myself and looked at the door of 502. According to the original body's memories, the resident here is the school beauty from the music conservatory, named Jiang Qingxue. She's the pinnacle of beauty, with a cold and aloof temperament. The original body had a crush on her for a long time. Today, he had mustered up the courage to buy flowers and confess. But before he even entered the door, he scared himself to death, which benefited me. I hid the flowers directly. A confession is just a formality. I reached out and knocked on the door. The door opened. A girl in a blue and white JK skirt appeared before me. With long hair draped over her shoulders, skin so fair it glowed, and delicate features as if painted. She was even more stunning in person than in my memories. Her looks could dominate the entertainment industry. But her gaze was a bit cold, looking at me like I was trash on the roadside. She frowned and said impatiently, "What is it? Need to sign for a package?" I looked at her expression, sneered inwardly, but my face instantly switched to a loving mode. I made a heart with one hand and said in a cheesy tone, "Miss, I like you. Let's be CP." Jiang Qingxue took a step back, looking like she had stepped in dog poop, and said in a voice cold enough to freeze, "Not even a bit. You, a smelly courier. Where do you get the confidence to think you're worthy of me? Don't you have a mirror at home? Even if not, you have urine, right? Take a piss and look at yourself. Loser with delusions, so cringe. Don't bother me again." Bang. The door slammed shut. The fake smile on my face instantly disappeared, but I wasn't angry at all, because a ding sounded in my mind. Ding. Current task completed. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the Apocalypse Beginner Unlimited Supplies Pack. It includes beginner unlimited food, daily necessities, water, and a beginner arsenal. Current system activation progress, 1/3. Host, keep it up. Awesome. Getting unlimited supplies just for being scolded a few times. This deal is a steal. I didn't want to waste a second and ran back to my rental. After closing the door, I rubbed my hands and called out in my mind, "System, open the unlimited supplies pack." Whoosh, a blue light door appeared before me, visible only to me. I probed it with my consciousness and gasped. Behind the light door were 2 areas, one for food supplies and one for weapons. In the food area, shelves stretched endlessly, piled high with all kinds of food and drinks. Spicy strips, instant noodles, self-heating hot pot, crayfish, steak, various drinks, and mineral water, countless. My first reaction was, this stuff could probably feed 100 million beauties until the end of the universe, barely. The weapons area was even more outrageous. Pistols, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, light machine guns, Barretts, with unlimited ammunition. There were also cold weapons, tang swords, horse-cutting sabers, fire axes, machetes, lined up in a row. I casually took out a portion of spicy marinated crayfish. The system space has a preservation function, so the shrimp meat was firm and springy, just like freshly cooked. I also took out a Type 92 pistol. The cold metallic feel gave me goosebumps. The Dragon Kingdom strictly bans guns. Others might have at most a baseball bat, but I have hot weapons with unlimited ammo. When the apocalypse comes, what am I? I'm the boss. I chewed on the crayfish meat, feeling extremely pleased. In my last life, I lived a pathetic life, always reading people's faces. In this life, I'm going to be above others. Thinking of that arrogant Jiang Qingxue, I sneered. Arrogant school beauty, huh? When the apocalypse comes, supplies are more precious than life. Let's see how long you can stay arrogant. Then I'll make you kneel before me and beg for forgiveness for what you said. The apocalypse doesn't need feelings, only obedience. Having a few beautiful maids and living a divine life, that's the life I want. Just as I was thinking, the system notification sounded again. Ding. New activation task released. Task content. Go to the most upscale Western restaurant in the city and spend all your savings in a way you like. Completing this task will grant you the invincible golden kidney. Invincible golden kidney. My eyes lit up, and I quickly read the description. This thing can strengthen kidney function, make me unstoppable, and even promote secondary development. I was instantly on my knees. This system is too thoughtful, even considering men's core needs. I must do this task and do it well. Tomorrow the apocalypse comes, and money will become waste paper. I opened my phone and took out all the online loans I could, plus the 200,000 I had saved, totaling 380,000. Credit report? Who cares about credit reports in the apocalypse? I changed into new clothes from the system space, took a luxury car, a Maybach, and headed straight to the most upscale Milton Hotel Western restaurant in Jiangxing. After being a beast of burden for over 20 years, today I'm going to be a big shot. Arriving at the 8th floor restaurant, I casually picked a seat and sat down. Just as I opened the menu to order, my ears caught a harsh remark. Isn't that the courier from our neighborhood? Daring to spend here? Don't you want to live anymore? The voice wasn't loud, but the contempt in it was full. I frowned and turned to look. Diagonally across sat a man and a woman, and I did know them. They were my newly moved-in neighbors, Song Wanjun and her boyfriend Bai Hao. Song Wanjun was tall and slender, with fair skin, wearing a black one-shoulder dress that showed off her curves. And she was indeed somewhat attractive. Bai Hao was in a suit and drove a BMW. Usually, when he saw me in the neighborhood, he would look down his nose at me. I ignored them and continued ordering. Soon, caviar, black truffle, top-grade steak, and high-end red wine were all served, filling the table. I dug in with gusto. The aroma of meat and wine was so good I wanted to curse. While I was enjoying my meal, someone couldn't sit still. Bai Hao's table was clearly provoked by me. He darkened his face and called the waiter. Call your manager. A hot female manager walked in quickly, her name tag reading Chinya. She wore a professional smile and asked if there was anything she could help with. Bai Hao glanced at me sideways and said sarcastically that he wanted to change seats. Chinya said there were no empty seats during the peak dining hours, and Bai Hao's face darkened even more, directly saying, "What a mood killer. How can this hotel let just anyone in?" That remark was aimed at me. I put down my knife and fork, wiped my mouth, stood up, and walked over to their table. I'm 1.85 meters tall, weigh 158 pounds, and have a physique built from years of delivering packages. Standing in front of them, I was like a wall. Bai Hao's arrogance instantly vanished. He shrank his neck, as timid as a quail. Something wrong. I looked down at him from above, my tone calm, but my presence made it hard for him to breathe. And no, nothing. His voice was weak. Song Wanjun wanted to speak up, but Bai Hao grabbed her. He forcibly pulled his girlfriend away, muttering under his breath, "Junjun, don't bother with lowlifes like him. He's clearly here for a last meal before he can't go on. We're porcelain, not to be compared with tiles." His voice was low, but my hearing seemed to have been enhanced by the system, and I caught every word. The principle of avoiding conflict for the blessed. Think I'm a stinking stone in a latrine? Fine, I'll remember you too. See you in the apocalypse. Then we'll see who's porcelain. The flies left, and I continued enjoying my meal. Chinya even specially sent a complimentary specialty drink to make up for it, with an extremely good attitude. When I finished eating and paid the bill, I told her to exchange the remaining money for lobster, king crab, and steak to go. Have them delivered to my home later. The system space currently doesn't have high-end ingredients, so I'll take advantage of this first. Just as I was waiting for the takeout, the system notification sounded. Ding. Current task completed. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the invincible golden kidney. System activation progress. 2/3. I suppressed my excitement and mentally shouted, claim. Instantly, a warm current appeared out of nowhere and surged toward my lower back. It felt like 1,000 little hands massaging me, tingling and numb, so pleasurable I almost cried out on the spot. After about 2.5 minutes, I opened my eyes and felt as if my entire waist had been reforged, filled with boundless strength. The unfamiliar changes coming from a certain part of my body left me stunned for several seconds. My pants even felt a bit tight. I ran to the restroom to check and was dumbfounded. This enhancement was way too exaggerated. I admired myself in there for 10 minutes before reluctantly leaving. Back in my seat, I let out a long breath. I now have the unlimited supplies pack, the weapon arsenal, and the invincible golden kidney. The apocalypse hasn't even officially started, and I've already won at the starting line. There's still one final activation task left. I wonder what incredible reward it will bring. Lin Feng is looking forward to it. Passing the front desk, he left his address and walked away with style. Whether it was his imagination or not, after receiving the golden kidney, Lin Feng felt that the women around him were looking at him differently. Could it be that this thing also comes with a charm aura? The apocalypse is coming, so this is neither here nor there. Lin Feng didn't care about that. After all, no matter how handsome he was, could he compare to the esteemed readers in front of the screen? This small boost was nothing compared to the stunning looks of the Yanzis that make flowers bloom at their sight. Besides the increased size, Lin Feng also felt that his overall energy had become extremely energetic. That feeling was indescribable. If forced to describe it in one sentence, it would be, I feel like my bones have become lighter by 4 liang. An unprecedented sense of ease filled Lin Feng's heart. Wow, now I can even control my own fertility? Damn, that's awesome. Checking his information, Lin Feng was very satisfied with his current body. With this ability, there's no worry about success or becoming a man. My grassland, my horse, I can play however I want. After taking a taxi home, Lin Feng's account balance had dwindled to a pitiful single digit. This discovery made Lin Feng feel delighted. Spending all the money before the apocalypse came was also a good thing. Just then, the system notification sounded again. Ding. New activation task issued. Task content. After the apocalypse arrives, use a method you like to resolve a troublesome matter that has been bothering your neighbors. Completing this task will reward you with a body enhancement fruit plus super residence. Super residence. This reward ensures that the area where the host lives will never lose water or electricity, and slightly increases the stability of the residents. This task content left Lin Feng completely bewildered. What the heck? I have to help people solve problems. And it has to be after the apocalypse arrives. This task is a bit strange. Since he couldn't figure it out, he stopped thinking about it and turned his attention to the rewards for this task. The body enhancement fruit. He naturally understood its value from reading countless web novels. With this fruit, Lin Feng's physical fitness would far surpass others. If it came to cold weapon combat, even against 100 enemies, Lin Feng felt confident he would win. And the super residence was even better. Not only did it have some safe house features, but it could also provide uninterrupted water and electricity. You see, after the apocalypse, water and electricity usually only last for a very short time. Even on Water Blue Star, which has strong battery technology, they can only manage to keep phones powered for a few months. In the apocalypse, most people can only eke out an existence in dark, cold environments. But Lin Feng, with a super residence, had it all solved. Startled from a dying illness, I sit up. Turns out I'm the cheater. Lin Feng chuckled and yawned. He had eaten too much earlier and was feeling sleepy. The last task wasn't urgent. Tomorrow is the apocalypse, so clues should appear soon. He just needed to wait patiently. Lin Feng muttered to himself and fell asleep. At 6 in the evening, Lin Feng was woken by the phone ringing. He picked it up. It was a call from Chinya. Mr. Lin, please open the door. Your takeout has arrived at your doorstep. Chinya's gentle voice came through the receiver. Okay, thanks. Lin Feng hung up, got up, and opened the door. Before him stood Chunya, a mature and beautiful woman in a black professional outfit with sheer black stockings. You came to deliver it yourself? Lin Feng was a bit surprised. It's normal. You're our big client, so it's only right to be attentive. Besides, my house is being renovated, so I'm staying at my sister's place recently. She's also in this neighborhood, in Building 5. Chunya smiled warmly and winked playfully at Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and started moving the items, with Chunya also helping voluntarily. Goodbye, Mr. Lin. Chunya wanted to leave after delivering the items. If possible, I suggest you stock up on water and food at home. You never know which comes first, tomorrow or the unexpected. Watching Chunya's alluring back figure, Lin Feng swallowed and suddenly spoke. His words made Chunya pause. Okay, I will. Chunya smiled, waved, and stepped into the elevator with her long legs and black stockings. I can only help you this much. Anything more would cost extra. Lin Feng chuckled and closed the door. His nature wasn't exactly cold, but this world was very different from Blue Star. People on Water Blue Star were more indifferent and more snobbish than those on Blue Star. Lin Feng, without money, power, or influence, was just a poor loser in most people's eyes, and no one cared. He spoke up today only because he had a decent impression of Chunya. Ding. 1 Kuan hour until the apocalypse arrives. Hearing the system notification, Lin Feng's expression returned to calm. Bring it on. Let's end this damn order sooner. I've had enough of this crap. Lin Feng sneered and took out a bowl of clear soup beef rice noodles from the system space and started eating. Now that he had food and drink, weapons, and supplies, Lin Feng wasn't worried at all. He just needed to leisurely wait for the system task target to appear and the apocalypse to arrive. After eating, Lin Feng took out a handgun and began to study gun knowledge based on online materials. This thing would be his guarantee of survival for a long time to come. Although he couldn't use it directly at this stage, Lin Feng still wanted to familiarize himself with it as much as possible. Time passed slowly, and 2.5 hours quickly went by. Ding. Host, please note. The apocalypse is here. A very cold mechanical voice interrupted Lin Feng, who was intently fiddling with the gun. At the very moment the system notification sounded, a terrifying roar like thunder suddenly resounded across every corner of the blue water star. Immediately after, shallow black raindrops like ink began to fall continuously. In just a moment, these raindrops covered the surface of the blue water star. After a long while, Lin Feng's tinnitus finally subsided. When his hearing recovered, he heard miserable and piercing screams from downstairs. Allah, what the hell is this? Why is the rain black? Ugh, it hurts. This rain is poisonous. Help, help, someone's dead. Call the police. Knowing the apocalypse was coming, the cautious Lin Feng had already closed all the windows. He looked downstairs through the window. On the ground covered with ink-colored rainwater, several people had already died from full-body skin ulcers. Some who had been splashed, but not yet dead, were hugging their rapidly festering and rotting limbs, howling in pain. In just a few minutes, all who had been rained on were dead. Not just people. On the road not far away, various vehicles lost control in the rain and crashed into a mess. Panic and despair began to spread rapidly. Lin Feng frowned and looked into the distance, his pupils constricting. This poisonous rain can corrode rubber. Attention, everyone. The rain is poisonous. Don't touch it. Go home immediately. Go home immediately. This urgent notice appeared simultaneously on the radio, phones, and television. Lin Feng took out his phone. Sure enough, short video platforms were also flooded with news about the poisonous rain. Compared to domestically, it was even more chaotic abroad, with various violent and vicious incidents quickly rising. The order of human society was hanging by a thread. At the same time, a huge scoop broke online. All shallow groundwater had been completely contaminated. Experts suggested that in extreme water shortages, one could try boiling the contaminated water before drinking. Seeing this, Lin Feng's face twitched. 666. The idiot experts are performing as usual. Have you even drunk it before daring to say that? To be honest, those public intellectuals are stupid. After cursing, Lin Feng's eyes gradually became fervent. The apocalypse is really here. My era is here. At that moment, the commotion downstairs caught Lin Feng's attention. He looked through the window at the convenience store below. The originally quiet store was now packed with people. Give it to me. Have some decency. I saw this bottle of water first. Decency my ass. Get lost. What I get is mine. Let me through. I'm elderly. Let me in. Old man, why are you shoving? Get out of the way. Who touched my butt? Bastard. So desperate? Go home and touch your moms. It's over. All over. You robbers. Curses, cries, and the sounds of smashing filled the air. Lin Feng looked amused. Sure enough, those who reacted quickly had already started looting supplies. The order that a law-based society had maintained for years was collapsing, and the status of the elderly and women was in jeopardy. The scales of society were tilting increasingly toward strength. Loot away, the more chaos the better. If it weren't chaotic, how could the preciousness of supplies be shown? If it weren't chaotic, wouldn't my unlimited supplies and weapon arsenal have been awakened in vain? Haha. Lin Feng wore a cold expression. After watching for a while, he lost interest in spectating. In the apocalypse, might makes right, and self-interest reigns supreme. Rather than watching the drama, he preferred to spend time studying firearms. He casually took out a silenced pistol, skillfully loaded the magazine, and familiarized himself with the shooting stance. After familiarizing himself with the firearm, he took out a medium-weight machete and practiced swinging it. Since the body enhancement fruit wasn't in hand yet, more training was always a good idea. After messing around for about an hour, Lin Feng lay down to sleep. As soon as he closed his eyes, he heard a rather piercing sound of knocking on the floor. Then, a wailing, ghostly middle-aged woman's singing came. That's right, the kind you sometimes hear in the park. A powerful noise combining off-key singing, dialect, and an extremely unpleasant voice. 3 fatal tortures in one. You are my little apple, like the most beautiful cloud in the sky. She was singing the popular square dance anthem. Damn it, I forgot about that idiot. No wonder the system issued such a mission. It's because of her. Lin Feng looked disgusted, cursed, threw on his clothes, and went out. He had been so excited about awakening the system today that he had forgotten about Aunt Zhang upstairs. Speaking of Aunt Zhang, she was also a piece of work. She suffered from insomnia, slept during the day, and started making trouble after 10 p.m. She would sing and dance, lasting until midnight. Even to enjoy herself more, she specially bought a small speaker to bombard the neighbors with her singing. Her motto was, "Since I can't sleep, you won't have it easy either." For this reason, many neighbors upstairs and downstairs had tried to reason with her, but to no avail. This old woman, alone all her life, never married. Now in her 50s, with no attachments, she acted recklessly and was extremely selfish. The property management and neighbors could do nothing about such a freeloader. Her presence directly caused several households above and below her to move away. After they moved, old lady Zhang became even more brazen, even turning up the volume. Lin Feng had forgotten about her mainly because the old woman had gone traveling a while ago and only returned today. Insomnia, huh? This illness needs treatment. Coincidentally, I have the cure, and it works instantly. By the elevator, Lin Feng looked cold, a fierce glint in his eyes. Soon, the elevator doors opened, revealing an ugly woman. About 1.5 meters tall and weighing over 160 kg. Her face was covered in acne, looking quite disgusting. As the doors opened, a strong smell of armpit odor hit Lin Feng, almost making him gag. He frowned and stepped in. Now, helping old lady Zhang cure her insomnia for some peace and quiet was more important. Lin Feng didn't want to wait a moment longer. Having been busy all day and too tired to shower, Lin Feng didn't smell great. His arrival displeased Zhen Jian greatly. She was used to her own armpit odor, but couldn't stand Lin Feng's faint smell of sweat. As soon as the elevator doors closed, Zhen Jian's irritable voice rang out. You smell so bad. Why is this elevator so slow? Zhen Jian's voice was extremely shrill, and Lin Feng's face immediately darkened. Before Lin Feng could react, Zhen Jian's voice sounded again. How much longer until this elevator arrives? So stinky. This time, it was louder and even shriller. Lin Feng's eyes instantly turned icy cold, and his hands clenched into fists. Even if he were slow, he knew he had encountered a top-tier nuisance. Why isn't this elevator here yet? Oh my god, I can't stand it. At that moment, the woman began to scream hysterically. Shut the hell up. Lin Feng cursed and kicked her in the stomach. At 21, Lin Feng was in his prime, and years of hard work had given him considerable strength. That kick silenced Zhen Jian instantly. The extreme pain made Zhen Jian curl up like a cooked shrimp. She knelt on the ground, retching. Damn it. Do you think the elevator is your home? What are you screaming for? If you don't want to die, shut your mouth. After a moment, when Zhen Jian could move a bit, she started screaming again. You smelly shrimp-headed man. You dare hit me? I'll kill you. She screamed and lunged at Lin Feng like a madwoman. Bang! After a dull sound, a bloody hole appeared on Zhen Jian's head. Her fat body fell limply. But Lin Feng, who had killed Zhen Jian with his own hands, closed his eyes with pleasure. Phew! Now that's truly comfortable. The equalizer works great. Awesome. Lin Feng glanced coldly at her and casually put away the silenced pistol. Idiot. The times have changed. Welcome to the apocalypse. He spat at the corpse, then stepped out of the elevator. Soon, Lin Feng stopped in front of door 10-03. With a smile on his face, he knocked on Aunt Zhang's door. Hello, you have a package. Please open the door to sign for it. Little red face, warming my heart. Lin Feng's knock, which he thought was handsome, didn't cause any stir, and the singing inside remained piercingly loud. Lin Feng laughed in anger. This time he didn't waste words, clenching his fist and pounding heavily on the security door. What's all the knocking for? Are you in a hurry to die in the middle of the night? Looking for a scolding, huh? The singing behind the door paused, and Aunt Zhang's frantic roar came through the door. Hearing this, Lin Feng's expression was calm, but his eyes were icy cold. Soon, the door opened, and a middle-aged woman with a defiant look appeared before Lin Feng. I thought it was who. Turns out it's just a delivery guy. In the middle of the night. Are you crazy? Why are you knocking on my door? Don't you know this is disturbing the peace? What a nuisance. You've ruined my singing mood. Her shameless words made Lin Feng's face turn gloomy instantly. Disturbing the peace? Hey, I can't tell that you, a damn hag, even know what disturbing the peace means. Stop singing, damn it. If you want to go crazy, go far away. If you keep making noise, I'll kill you. Hearing this, Aunt Zhang flew into a rage. You little bastard. None of your damn business. You little punk, you're too nosy. It's my house. I'll do whatever I want. You dare curse at me? You asterisk. Nuisance. Lin Feng wasn't here to trade insults with her. He swung his hand and slapped her, sending all her curses back down her throat. The slap was heavy, directly knocking Aunt Zhang to the ground. Intense tinnitus and dizziness hit her, her mind in a daze. In just a moment, Aunt Zhang's ugly face was red and swollen. Before, in a society ruled by law, people's protests against her were at most verbal. The more extreme ones would just blast music back at her with speakers. Therefore, Aunt Zhang had never encountered someone who directly resorted to violence. For a moment, her mind went blank. But soon, the burning pain on her face, an extreme rage twisted her expression. Aunt Zhang completely exploded. She charged at Lin Feng with claws bared, cursing nonstop. You motherf asterisk hashtag. B asterisk TCH. I'll kill you. F asterisk CK off. Lin Feng agilely sidestepped, then delivered a front kick, sending Aunt Zhang flying, crashing hard into her shoe cabinet. Bang! A dull thud followed by Aunt Zhang's screams quickly sounded. The commotion was considerable, but no one noticed. Thanks to Aunt Zhang's long-term noise disturbance, this floor now only had her family left. You little brat. You dare hit me. I'll call the police and have you arrested. This isn't over today. You'll rot in jail. I'll sue you for intentional injury and home invasion. Lin Feng looked at the chattering Aunt Zhang and couldn't help cursing himself. Damn it. Still thinking like a law-abiding citizen. Why argue with such a selfish old B asterisk TCH? Just shoot her and be done with it. Seeing Lin Feng not respond, Aunt Zhang thought he was scared, and a smug expression appeared on her face. I'm telling you, today you must kneel and apologize to me, and compensate me $1 million, then I might forgive you. Lin Feng sneered at this, pulled out a silenced pistol, and pointed it at Aunt Zhang. You damn hag. Quite ambitious, huh? What the hell do you think you are? You think I'd kneel and beg for mercy? Seeing Lin Feng pull out a gun, Aunt Zhang became even more contemptuous. Hilarious. How old are you? Still waving a toy gun around. If you've got the guts, shoot me. Come on. Shoot here. Her tone was extremely arrogant, even voluntarily pointing the muzzle at her own forehead. Aunt Zhang's understanding was still stuck in the previous law-abiding society, completely unaware of the arrival of the apocalypse. She knew about the poisonous rain falling from the sky, but didn't care. She firmly believed that such a small matter would be resolved in a few days. First time seeing such a request. If I don't fulfill it, it seems I'm unreasonable. Lin Feng's expression turned strange, and he directly pulled the trigger. After a dull sound, a bloody hole appeared in Aunt Zhang's head, and she instantly kicked the bucket. Aunt Zhang died with her eyes wide open. See, you're anxious again. When I actually shoot, you're not happy. Lin Feng looked at her corpse, sneered, turned around, closed the door, and left. I have to say, this feeling of avenging grievances on the spot is really damn satisfying. Having killed 2 people, Lin Feng felt strangely little discomfort in his heart. Partly because these 2 were each more outrageous than the last, truly deserving of death. But the most important reason was that Lin Feng had had enough. The apocalypse was his stage. At that moment, A series of system notification sounds quickly rang in Lin Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, on completing the activation task. Congratulations, host, on receiving the reward, Body Enhancement Fruit X1. Congratulations, host, on receiving the reward, Super Residence. This system has been fully activated. The host can now view system functions. Awesome! My cheat code is finally fully in place. Lin Feng was overjoyed and quickly returned to his home. Locking the door, he took a deep breath and said in his mind, System, claim the Body Enhancement Fruit and Super Residence. Reward claimed successfully, please check. The moment the notification sounded, a fist-sized crystal fruit suddenly appeared before Lin Feng's eyes. The fruit carried a strange fragrance, making Lin Feng swallow saliva. He stuffed it into his mouth. The fruit melted instantly, turning into streams of warmth that surged through his limbs and bones. Boom! It was like a thunderclap in Lin Feng's mind, and in an instant, he lost consciousness. When Lin Feng regained consciousness, he found his entire body covered in a layer of black, sticky substance. He guessed it was impurities expelled from his body. The smell was too strong, 10 times more intense than the T0 armpit stench he encountered in the elevator earlier. Lin Feng immediately retched, then scrambled to his feet and rushed to the bathroom. After washing 3 times, the stench was finally removed. Thinking of his previous pathetic state, Lin Feng found it amusing. Classic. Just like in fantasy novels, when the body undergoes super enhancement, there's always a skin defecation phase. After complaining about that, Lin Feng casually glanced at his metal mop. He reached out, took it, and with a slight squeeze of 2 fingers, the hollow mop was squeezed into a solid one. Damn, this strong. This is the value of the enhancement fruit. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He quickly put on clothes, went into the utility room, and found a screwdriver. With a slight press of his fingers, the steel screwdriver bent 90 degrees, as if made of clay. Haha, I've made it. Seeing this, Lin Feng was ecstatic. With just a little effort, he could easily bend a steel cone. Lin Feng was extremely satisfied with this boost. After a while, he calmed down. But as soon as he returned to the living room, Lin Feng was stunned. P.S. Explanation. Super Residence can be loaded onto other places at will, such as RVs, houses, even planes and ships. Looking at the clean floor in front of him, a realization suddenly dawned on Lin Feng. It's the Super Residence. Earlier, when he took the body enhancement fruit, he had made the floor dirty, covered in disgusting grime. But in just the time it took to shower, the floor had returned to cleanliness. Damn, this thing can not only reinforce the house and maintain water and electricity, but also automatically clean the floor? Awesome. After receiving the information in his mind, Lin Feng was delighted. The floor cleaning function could only be triggered once every 7 days. For Lin Feng, that was enough. Having this system is indeed satisfying. Lin Feng sighed, sat down on the sofa, and began to study the system. Apocalypse Awesome System, version 1.0? Looking at the suffix on the system panel, Lin Feng showed a look of surprise. Version 1.0? Does that mean there are 2.0 or even 3.0 versions? If version 1.0 is this awesome, what rewards will the later versions have? Superpowers? Cultivation techniques? Psychic powers? Just thinking about it, Lin Feng was excited. Getting stronger is one thing, but what's more important is being cool. If he could get psychic powers or some cultivation technique, and then get a big sword and fly on it, that would be super cool. Thinking about this, Lin Feng looked excited. He had guessed this when he received the supply package earlier. Now his thoughts were confirmed. The supply package didn't include those expensive foods, and regular supplies like clothes were also limited for this reason. However, Lin Feng had food and drink for now, and weapons were sufficient for the time being, so he was quite satisfied. System, check the upgrade conditions. The host can upgrade the system by helping others and accumulating experience points. The higher the version, the richer the rewards for the host. Special note, only by helping targets that meet the system's requirements can you trigger experience and rewards. Hearing these 2 system notifications, Lin Feng looked puzzled. What the hell? It's the apocalypse, and you want me to help others? Isn't that ridiculous? I'm determined not to eat beef. After complaining, a flash of light suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's eyes. Help! Giving food to beautiful women who can't eat enough. Letting them survive? Does that count as help? Does killing evil people count as help? Does killing those in deep pain to relieve them count as help? Hee hee. This system is interesting. Thinking of this, Lin Feng showed a smile, even more evil than a villain's. Upgrade path unclear? Simple. I'll just try everything and see. Yawning, Lin Feng stopped thinking and went straight to sleep. He slept quite soundly. At 8 a.m., Lin Feng woke up on time, full of energy. He casually patted his well-defined six-pack abs, quite satisfied. This body is amazing. Not only is it full of strength and vitality, but even sleep is exceptionally good. After a brief exclamation, Lin Feng finished washing up and took out a bowl of salty tofu pudding with beef to eat. He habitually opened Yinlang to browse some videos. As expected, less than a day into the apocalypse, the order of human society began to collapse rapidly. Various violent crimes, robberies, rapes, and other vicious incidents kept emerging and dominated the hot searches. Power and gas outages quickly appeared in various places. Before Lin Feng could sigh, his phone screen suddenly went black, and the Yinlang platform shut down directly. After checking for a while, Lin Feng helplessly found that only Chaoxin could be opened. But the short videos, video calls, and other functions inside couldn't be used. In the homeowner group, Lin Feng saw a photo of the corpse of that foul woman he had shot yesterday. The appearance of this photo completely shattered many people's illusions. The cruelty of the apocalypse gradually showed its edge. Fear and unease spread in everyone's hearts. No rush, the fun is still to come. Lin Feng glanced at it casually and then stopped paying attention. He leisurely started playing a 3A game. In the evening, the Longting community where Lin Feng lived also lost power and gas. The entire community suddenly fell into darkness. The temperature was still dropping, and due to the lack of energy, most residents were suffering from the cold. For the vast majority, the only usable electrical appliance at home was their phone. However, these had nothing to do with Lin Feng. His room maintained a constant temperature of 26 degrees Celsius, and he didn't have to worry about electricity at all. The existence of the super residence meant that others couldn't see the situation inside Lin Feng's home from the outside. For the next 5 days, the poisonous rain continued to fall without any sign of stopping. The temperature gradually dropped further. On the 5th day, the poisonous rain outside the window turned into black snow. Over the past few days, from time to time, people who couldn't bear the pressure chose to jump off buildings to end their lives. Late at night, screams, wails, and sounds of smashing and looting almost always occurred. During this period, Lin Feng didn't go out. He happily ate various delicacies, drank the special iced cola produced by the system, and felt extremely comfortable. This kind of cola doesn't make you gain weight, puts no burden on the body, and tastes better. Lin Feng burped and habitually opened the homeowner group. Checking the group every day to see the miserable experiences of the homeowners had become one of his pastimes. Through this group, Lin Feng also obtained a lot of information. Starting from the second night, people gradually proposed exchanging supplies in the community's underground parking garage. This exchange activity had been going on for several days. Damn, I feel a bit bored. I want to find some fun. Lin Feng rubbed his chin and planned to go out for a stroll. After enduring for several days, most people's supplies should be almost depleted. Going out now, there would likely be some fun. As soon as Lin Feng reached the stairwell, he encountered Jiang Qingxue, who had humiliated him before. At this moment, she had changed greatly compared to a few days ago. Now Jiang Qingxue's hair was messy and gave off an unpleasant smell. Her lips were pale and chapped, her eyes somewhat dull, and her bright little face had become bloodless. She was wrapped in a thick down jacket and looked extremely weak. Oh, isn't this our campus belle Jiang? Haven't seen you for a few days. Why do you look like a ghost? Lin Feng chuckled, full of sarcasm. If it were before, Jiang Qingxue would have pointed at Lin Feng's nose and cursed arrogantly. But now, the situation had changed. Jiang Qingxue stared blankly at Lin Feng, who was full of energy and showed no sign of weakness. A glimmer of hope flashing in her eyes. Lin, brother Lin, do you still have water and food at home? Please, can you share some with me? As she spoke, a pleading expression appeared on her face. Jiang Qingxue was really too hungry. Living alone and used to ordering takeout, she had hardly any stock at home except for snacks. A day ago, Jiang Qingxue's water had run out. She had also tried to exchange things from home for some supplies. Unfortunately, in the extreme shortage of water and food, no one was willing to exchange for her worn stockings. To get water, she could only offer her pure body. The proud Jiang Qingxue naturally didn't agree and left angrily. But after just a little over a day, she couldn't hold on anymore. Brother Lin? Oh, I didn't expect you could speak human language. Lin Feng sneered. Weren't you pretty tough a few days ago? Calling me a shrimp-head man. Loser? Overconfident? Humph. Jiang Qingxue's state was obviously noticed by Lin Feng. His words made Jiang Qingxue bite her teeth, but then she slumped down in silence. Lin Feng casually took out a pack of biscuits, shook it in front of Jiang Qingxue, and a sinister smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Jiang Qingxue, you don't want to starve to death, do you? I have plenty of food and drink at home. I can give you 3 meals a day, but if you want to get it, you have to pay a price. If you understand, you can come to my place. Jiang Qingxue naturally understood Lin Feng's meaning. She had to give her body and purity to get water and food. This was cruel and realistic. If she had heard the same words a week ago, she would have cursed and made a fuss. But at this moment, upon hearing these words, a look of relief flashed in Jiang Qingxue's eyes. After her water completely ran out, she, who had been pampered, couldn't hold on any longer. If Lin Feng hadn't appeared, she might have already appeared in the underground garage, agreed to some stranger's request, and gone with him. It was also a transaction, and the tall and handsome Lin Feng was clearly a better choice. Lin Feng didn't care much and threw down the things, intending to turn and leave. He believed Jiang Qingxue was smart enough to know what to choose. Brother Lin, I understand. I'm willing. Take me home now, please. Seeing Lin Feng about to leave, Jiang Qingxue hurriedly begged. Her words made Lin Feng stop in his tracks. If you say that, I won't be in the mood to watch the excitement. Lin Feng glanced at Jiang Qingxue, who looked miserable, with no change in his expression. This is the apocalypse. Pity is not needed at all. Follow me. He turned and walked toward his own home, and Jiang Qingxue quickly followed. As soon as she entered the house, Jiang Qingxue was stunned. Brother Lin, why do you have electricity in your house? And it's so warm? Jiang Qingxue, wearing a down jacket, even felt a bit hot. She took off her thick clothes and looked at Lin Feng curiously. Jiang Qingxue hadn't felt this kind of warmth for days. Power outage plus snowfall made the temperature very low at night. Even 2 quilts couldn't ward off the cold. Hearing this, Lin Feng, who had closed the door and taken off his trousers, let out a sneer. Don't call me brother so affectionately. What I need is not a woman, but a maid. Lin Feng's words were like a heavy hammer, striking Jiang Qingxue's heart. Maid? Maid? Is it the kind of maid I'm thinking of? That kind of humble existence with no dignity, where everything belongs to the master. Thinking of this, a strong resistance flashed across Jiang Qingxue's face. No. Impossible. I, the school beauty of Jiangxing Conservatory of Music, can't do this. Lin Feng naturally noticed the struggle on her face. But he sneered at it. Dignity? How many women in the apocalypse can have that? As everyone knows, in the apocalypse, women are just exchangeable goods. Want some water? Lin Feng revealed a wicked smile, took out a bottle of mineral water, and unscrewed the cap. The word water seemed to stimulate Jiang Qingxue's sensitive nerves. She looked at Lin Feng urgently and begged. Yes, please, give it to me. What's wrong? Your attitude now, Master Lin doesn't like it. I still prefer the way you used to look at me like garbage. Please maintain that arrogant attitude when you called me a shrimp-head man and a loser. Lin Feng's words brought a look of humiliation to Jiang Qingxue's face. But the cruel reality made her choose to bow her head voluntarily. Lin. Master Lin, I was blind before, I'm sorry. Lin Feng looked at her with a teasing gaze and didn't continue this topic. He took out a bottle of leftover mineral water and casually threw it on the ground. Want water? Here you go. Seeing the water thrown, Jiang Qingxue rushed over immediately, grabbed the bottle, and gulped it down. Even though her neck got wet, she didn't care and just kept swallowing frantically. At this moment, ordinary mineral water seemed like the most precious thing in her eyes. Looking at the disheveled Jiang Qingxue, Lin Feng sighed with emotion. So this is the value of water in the apocalypse? For it, even the school beauty has to bow her head. After a while, Jiang Qingxue finished half the bottle of water. The so-called struggle on her face completely disappeared. He took out a 1,000-layer meat pie from the system space, waved it in front of Jiang Qingxue, and said coldly, I'll ask you once more. Are you willing to be my maid? The meat pie in front of her was no different from one just out of the pan, golden and crispy on the outside, with a strong aroma of scallions and meat. Is this an ability? He can conjure food out of thin air. And it's hot. Jiang Qingxue was shocked, but she wisely kept quiet. Gulp. Jiang Qingxue looked at the meat pie and couldn't help swallowing. Thirsty and hungry, how could she resist such temptation? Yes, I'm willing. Jiang Qingxue nodded frantically. The so-called dignity she once had was completely crushed when she knelt down. Don't agree so quickly. I suggest you first see what you need to do as my maid. Lin Feng said coldly, took out his phone, opened a document he had edited earlier, and handed it to her. Maid's Code. 1. The master's orders are absolute. Disobedience will be punished, at the least, hunger, at the worst, death. 2. From now on, no matter the occasion, you must address me as master. 3. At home, you must dress according to the master's requirements. What you wear depends entirely on the master's mood. 4. When the master returns home, the maid must bow in greeting. When the master is at home, the maid must serve by his side. In total, there were about a dozen rules. The more she read, the worse Jiang Qingshue's expression became. If she agreed to these requirements, she would completely become his servant from now on. If you're unwilling, you can end your life in front of me. You've drunk my water. You have no other choice. He casually threw a dagger to her, stood up coldly, and looked down at her from above. Jiang Qingxue was indeed beautiful, but in the apocalypse, Lin Feng had no mood for any damn romance. Either obey or die. If she didn't want to, there were plenty of others who would. The dagger on the ground completely broke down Jiang Qingshue's psychological defense. No, I'm willing, Brother Lin. Jiang Qingshue's gaze gradually became firm. She only knew she didn't want to die. Following Lin Feng, at least she could eat and stay warm. What did you call me? Lin Feng took a bite of the 1,000-layer meat pie and chewed, making crunching sounds. Moss. Master. Jiang Qingshue's face flushed with shame, and she obediently knelt in front of Lin Feng. Well done. I'll reward you. Lin Feng put the meat pie he had bitten and the leftover half bottle of mineral water on the coffee table beside Jiang Qingxue. After thinking for a moment, he also took out a bowl of steaming hot century egg and lean pork congee and placed it on the coffee table. Thank you for your reward, master. You're so kind. Jiang Qingxue quickly adapted to this role. All right, stop holding back, eat up. After you finish, go take a shower. You stink all over. Your task later won't be easy, Lin Feng said with a smile, hinting at something. Huh, master, you even have water for a shower here. Jiang Qingxue was shocked. These past few days, she was thirsty and hungry, rationing every sip of water. But Lin Feng had water for showers. Don't make a fuss. With me, at least you won't go hungry or cold. Lin Feng frowned and explained. Jiang Qingxue nodded obediently and began to wolf down her food. Your clothes stink. Throw them away. After your shower, put on this set. Lin Feng casually took out a prepared set of clothes from the system space and threw them on the sofa. Jiang Qingxue, with her mouth full, looked up at him. But at a glance, her face instantly turned bright red with shame. On the sofa was a black stocking, blue and white sailor uniform dress, cute catgirl version. Seeing this outfit, Jiang Qingxue instantly turned into a steam machine, too embarrassed to look at Lin Feng. If she wore this, wouldn't she die of shame? Lin Feng, on the other hand, smiled as he admired his little maid from the side. It had to be said, Jiang Qingxue, as the school beauty, was indeed very attractive. After taking off the thick down jacket, her beauty fully bloomed before Lin Feng's eyes. He was quite satisfied with her looks. Today is a good day compared to Lin Feng's warm home, which was like spring. His neighbor Song Wanjun's home was much more miserable. Song Wanjun and Bai Hao, both looking pallid, were staring at a small wine glass on the table, sighing. In the glass was a small half cup of clear water. It was worth mentioning that next to the small wine glass was half a pack of Wang Wang Simbei. Junjun, this is all the supplies we have left. Bai Hao was wearing several thick clothes, and his exposed face was full of weakness and despair. Beside him, Song Wanjun looked similar. At this moment, her lips were chapped and her expression was dull. Her current appearance was in stark contrast to her refined urban beauty look at the Milton Hotel. How about we take those computer parts you bought at a high price and try again? Maybe we can trade them for something. Hearing Song Wanjun's suggestion, Bai Hao replied weakly. Sigh, that's all we can do. Not long after, Jiang Qingxue, having eaten her fill and thoroughly washed herself, suppressed her inner shyness and put on that work uniform. The bathroom door opened, and Lin Feng instinctively looked over. After eating and washing up, the youthful and beautiful Jiang Qingxue seemed to have returned. Wearing this outfit, her charm returned to its peak state. She looked extremely eye-catching. Lin Feng's eyes were full of admiration, and he looked at the little cat girl in front of him with a burning gaze. Little maid, here's a new order. When wearing this outfit, you must end your sentences with meow. Lin Feng rubbed his hands together excitedly, a mischievous grin on his face. As you command, meow. My noble master. Jiang Qingxue complied readily. Come here. Let me check if you put on the clothes correctly. Lin Feng crooked his finger. Jiang Qingxue didn't dare to be negligent and quickly stepped forward. Once beside Lin Feng, Jiang Qingxue knelt and sat, actively rubbing her small face against the hand Lin Feng extended. Her demeanor was even more obedient than a real cat. No one could connect her at this moment with the proud woman who had earlier pointed at Lin Feng's nose and cursed. Lin Feng touched Jiang Qingshue's delicate face and asked with a smile, "If I remember correctly, you're from the music conservatory? Meow?" "Yes, master. I study the bamboo flute." She rubbed her face against Lin Feng again, answering obediently. Lin Feng nodded, found a bamboo flute from the system space, and tossed it to her. "This is it, right? This thing sounds quite nice." "Meow? That's it." Jiang Qingxue took it and answered with a smile. "All right, improvise then." Lin Feng sat down on the sofa and took out an iced cola to drink. "As you command, Meow." "My dear master." Jiang Qingxue smiled sweetly and began to play seriously. The melodious sound of the flute soon filled the air, and Lin Feng squinted his eyes in enjoyment. "This is the damn apocalypse I've been longing for." "Awesome." After the piece ended, Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction. "Good performance. Come here, let me measure your waist. I'll reward you with a new outfit later." "As you command." 2.5 hours later, Lin Feng squinted and lit a cigarette. After double enhancement, his body was incredibly strong. With just a slight effort, he had already surpassed the limits of ordinary humans. Looking at Jiang Qingshue's peaceful sleeping face, Lin Feng curled his lips slightly. This woman is really something. It's fair to say she truly deserves to be the school beauty of the music conservatory. Beautiful, sweet-voiced, and talented, very nice. Just as Lin Feng was admiring his little maid, a light blue, tech-filled virtual panel appeared before his eyes. Name: Jiang Qingxue. Age: 19. Identity: host servant. Loyalty: 65. Fertility: disabled, adjustable. Physical condition: healthy, no infectious diseases. Traits: loves music and cosplay. Wow. Loyalty went up again. This girl is quite sensible. Lin Feng marveled inwardly and began to examine the panel information carefully. Earlier, when the fire was burning, he had only looked at the physical condition. Damn, only 19. She's truly gifted. No denying that. This is really impressive. Seeing the last part about liking cosplay, Lin Feng curled his lips. Accurate assessment. He could clearly feel that Jiang Qingxue was in high spirits after changing clothes. After exercising for a few hours in the morning, Lin Feng felt a bit hungry. From the system space, he took out a deluxe supreme pancake set and a glass of warm milk to replenish his energy. Another half hour passed before Jiang Qingxue slowly woke up. When she found Lin Feng looking at her with a half smile, Jiang Qingxue panicked. She quickly endured the pain, got up from the sofa, and knelt before Lin Feng. She said cautiously, "Sorry, master. I was too tired and overslept. Please punish me." Meow? Lin Feng rubbed Jiang Qingxue's little head and said with a smile, "It's okay. Go wash up, then tidy up these places." Hearing this, Jiang Qingxue turned to look at the messy sofa, blushing, and nodded. "Thank you, master." Meow? With that, she rubbed her little head against Lin Feng's thigh coquettishly. "Go wash up quickly. We'll go out for a stroll later." Lin Feng gently tapped Jiang Qingxue's little nose. In return, she gave him a shy and delighted look. "Hey, that's right. Isn't this better than dating?" Lin Feng grinned mischievously. Stroking his chin, he looked through the window at the small balcony next door. A couple of days ago, that social elite woman next door still looked down on me arrogantly. Scum at the bottom of society. Loser? Humph. That woman probably can't hold out much longer, right? I really am helpful. As Lin Feng was thinking, Jiang Qingxue had already cleaned the living room. "This outfit is dirty. Change into another one. We're going out soon." Lin Feng took out a set of special thermal clothing made by the system from the system space and handed it to Jiang Qingxue. His body was enhanced and not afraid of the cold, but Jiang Qingxue's wasn't. If he didn't take care of her, his little maid would likely suffer frostbite. Jiang Qingxue nodded, took the clothes, and moved quickly and nimbly. Watching her back, Lin Feng's suppressed desire almost flared up again. He grimaced, a helpless look flashing across his face. "Forget it, there's plenty of time." Lin Feng shook his head and began to divert his attention. He opened the system panel and brought up the progress bar for the version upgrade. What's going on? This progress bar actually jumped by 10%. Lin Feng showed a surprised expression. He was astonished to find that the progress bar had quietly gone from 0.1% to 10.1%. "It seems I guessed right. My act of taking in Jiang Qingxue probably triggered the system. But I'll need to test more to be sure. If sheltering beautiful women can increase the progress, then helping a few more beauties is justifiable." Lin Feng had some guesses, though not necessarily accurate, but he wasn't in a hurry. At the current stage, Lin Feng's combat power and weapons were overwhelmingly superior. He could slowly experiment to find the conditions for the upgrade. Even if sheltering men could speed up the progress, he wouldn't do it. Home was his private territory, and no other men were allowed there. Damn, this house still isn't big enough. Once I can withstand the toxic snow, I'll definitely get a big villa to live in. While waiting, Lin Feng opened the homeowners group again. Nearly a week had passed, and a large portion of the homeowners' supplies were running out. From the group messages, it was clear that the homeowners were becoming increasingly anxious and desperate. Just then, a message caught Lin Feng's attention. 603 by Hao, high-end gaming peripherals and racing simulation equipment for water and food. Price negotiable, meet in the underground garage. Seeing this, a meaningful smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. It seems my good neighbor finally can't hold out anymore. Ha. Time for me to make my move, thinking of Song Wanjun, the dancer with a great figure. A glint of interest flashed in Lin Feng's eyes. They say this woman has also practiced yoga? He clicked on by Hao's avatar and sent a verification message. Supplies are easy. I'm not interested in your equipment, but your wife is quite attractive. After sending the message, Lin Feng chuckled. In the underground garage, Bai Hao and Song Wanjun, wrapped up tightly, looked grim. Their stall had been set up for nearly 2 hours. At first, some people came to ask, but when they heard it was exchanging peripherals for food, they completely lost interest. These things aren't even wanted by dogs. Your girl here isn't bad. How about letting her have some fun with me? And I'll give you a bottle of water and half a loaf of bread. Song Wanjun had heard similar remarks many times and naturally scoffed at them. Her pride and self-respect wouldn't allow her to do such a thing. Besides, she still had her lover. Song Wanjun believed that as long as Bai Hao was there, she wouldn't starve. But as time passed, a strange look gradually flashed in Bai Hao's eyes beside her. Clearly, he was tempted by such proposals. At a very small cost, both he and Song Wanjun could have something to eat. What a great deal. Compared to risking his life to search for supplies outside, this was practically a no-cost transaction. However, he knew his girlfriend well and knew that Song Wanjun would never easily yield. If it comes to that, I'll have to wrong you, Junjun. I don't want to starve to death. Bai Hao schemed silently, continuing to stare blankly. Just then, his phone vibrated with a new message. In room 602, Lin Feng looked at Jiang Qingxue with amusement. If you're bad at something, practice more. She let out a whimper and nuzzled his belly. Come on, put on the down jacket and come with me to the garage for a look, Lin Feng said, pulling out a new women's down jacket and handing it to her. Meow? Thank you, master. Jiang Qingxue obediently put on her clothes and followed to the door. All right, get up. No need to kneel outside. Lin Feng touched the other's cat ears and smiled. Hearing this, Jiang Qingxue quickly nodded and stood up. Lin Feng ahead had eyes as cold as ice. In the apocalypse, he didn't want to trust anyone except himself. Even if the other was obedient, Lin Feng didn't dare to let his guard down. He hoped there would be a few more good-looking ones left in the neighborhood. Putting away his thoughts, Lin Feng walked toward the stairwell. Seeing this, Jiang Qingxue quickly followed. Honestly, having gone from being a sought-after school beauty to suddenly becoming Lin Feng's maid, Jiang Qingxue felt extremely unbalanced. But she had no thoughts of betrayal, because Lin Feng gave too much. In the apocalypse, supplies were precious. Following Lin Feng, she couldn't say much else, but just the fact of having enough to eat and wear was irreplaceable. People are like that. It's easy to go from frugality to extravagance, but the reverse is as hard as climbing to the sky. Clearly, Jiang Qingxue couldn't do it. She never wanted to return to her cold, dark home, to hunger and despair. Thinking of this, a trace of bitterness rose in Jiang Qingxue's heart, and she resignedly tightened her arms around herself. I should be more content. Actually, it's not bad following master. Besides, he is really strong. With him around, my chances of survival should be a bit higher. Lin Feng glanced at the blushing little cat beside him, his expression strange. He was surprised to find that Jiang Qingxue's panel information had suddenly changed. Loyalty. 85. Regarding the loyalty indicator, the system has a special explanation. The loyalty of Lin Feng's maids will never decrease, only increase. Usually, when loyalty reaches above 95, the other party can risk their life for Lin Feng, even sacrifice themselves. When loyalty reaches above 80, there is no possibility of betrayal. It seems my school beauty little maid has come around and started to win herself over. Otherwise, it wouldn't have increased so much at once. Lin Feng, who was well-versed in apocalypse novels, naturally knew the value of a trustworthy person in the apocalypse. He was quite satisfied with this. With loyalty at 85, he no longer had to worry about Jiang Qingxue betraying him. and Lin Feng saved himself a lot of trouble. Originally, he had planned to set up a trigger mechanism in his bedroom to fire a gun or something. Now, he could safely let her warm his bed at night. After all, having a fragrant, soft little cat girl to cuddle with while sleeping was truly a luxury in the apocalypse. However, Lin Feng still had no intention of raising Jiang Qingshua's status. After all, not getting emotionally involved, just learning English, was really enjoyable. As soon as Lin Feng went down one floor, he ran into Song Wanjun and Bai Hao. At this moment, Song Wanjun was wearing at least 7 or 8 layers of clothes, looking extremely bloated. Her exposed face was pale and weak, her body stank, and her hair was greasy and tangled. Now, she was completely different from her bright and beautiful appearance before the apocalypse. In contrast, Lin Feng and his companion had rosy complexions and were full of energy, clearly living well. Jiang Qingxue beside him was even wearing delicate makeup, with a charming smile on her face. The state of the two sides was like night and day. "Oh, isn't this my noble neighbor? Haven't seen you in a few days, how are you still alive?" Lin Feng's words were like a slap in the face, hitting Song Wanjun and Bai Hao hard. "Master, they stink so bad." Hearing Lin Feng's words, Jiang Qingxue jumped out to add insult to injury. The little maid had that much sense. "Master's enemies are my enemies." Jiang Qingxue's use of the word master basically shattered Song Wanjun and Bai Hao's worldview. The two were instantly shocked. Under the down jacket was a sexy JK uniform, paired with cat ear headband and little bell, and the title Master. The impact was overwhelming. The scene before her made Song Wanjun's head buzz, and she stood there dumbfounded. How could she call a man master? And dressed so seductively. Meanwhile, Bai Hao, also a man, was insanely jealous seeing this. Compared to the seductive beauty before him, he suddenly felt that Song Wanjun beside him was disgusting. Dirty, smelly, like a beggar. Song Wanjun beside him noticed the mental state of Lin Feng and his companion, feeling very uncomfortable. In less than a week, they had fallen from heaven to hell, without enough to eat, cold and hungry. In contrast, Lin Feng seemed to have no worries about food or clothing, living a comfortable life. Looking at the beautiful and moving Jiang Qingxue, and then at herself, who was like a beggar, stinking to high heaven, Song Wanjun's sense of imbalance was driving her crazy. Why? Why could a loser like Lin Feng live so well? Why could that bitch beside him be so arrogant as to despise her? Bai Hao and the other were extremely displeased. But circumstances were stronger than them, so they didn't respond to Lin Feng's mockery, but instead chose to lower their heads. "Bro, Brother Lin is joking. Do you have any extra food and water? I can buy them at a high price." Bai Hao smiled ingratiatingly at Lin Feng, looking quite humble. But Lin Feng didn't even look at him, instead turning to look with a mocking smile at Song Wanjun, who was biting her lip and staying silent. This chick is not bad. No infectious diseases, haha." Seeing that Lin Feng had no intention of acknowledging him, Bai Hao was extremely embarrassed, his face turning red in an instant. But the intense hunger in his stomach made him continue to cower. He tugged at Song Wanjun's clothes, signaling her to speak. A flash of humiliation passed through Song Wanjun's eyes. Her small fists clenched in her sleeves, and she said in a humble tone, Bro Lin, do you have any extra food and water?" "Food and water, I have them all, and plenty." Lin Feng flicked the little cat's neck bell, his voice very indifferent. "Can you sell some?" Song Wanjun continued. Lin Feng sneered, "Sell? Are you taking me for a fool? Money is worthless in my eyes now." Lin Feng's words were harsh, but Song Wanjun and the other couldn't refute them, because Lin Feng was telling the truth. "Don't even dream about it. Want food? Fine. My house just happens to need a maid to do odd jobs. Serve me and my little cat for a day, and I'll give you a pack of biscuits and a bottle of water." After Lin Feng's words fell, Song Wanjun and the others' expressions changed drastically. They were all adults. How could they not understand the meaning? Wasn't this exchanging Song Wanjun's body for supplies? Hearing this, Song Wanjun's face instantly turned extremely ugly. "Impossible. Even if I die, I won't agree to such a request." Bai Hao beside her was secretly tempted, but pretended to be dissatisfied. "Lin Feng, your request is too much. We can't agree." Jiang Qingxue, nestled in Lin Feng's arms, heard this and a hint of understanding rose in her eyes. She understood. Master was coveting this woman's body. Good. Great. With another sister to share the burden, Jiang Qingxue could relax a lot. Her eyes rolled, and she pretended to be troubled, grabbing Lin Feng's hand and placing it on her slender waist, whispering coquettishly to Lin Feng, "Master, can you take me out for a stroll more often in the future? Every day? All I do is eat and sleep. Your little cat is getting chubby. I want to lose weight. Hearing this, Song Wanjun and Bai Hao were dumbfounded. Listen to this. Is that even human talk? How can you be so show-offy? We're starving and freezing, so hungry we're hallucinating. And you tell me you've gained weight and want to lose weight. The two's heads were buzzing, speechless for a moment. But then, the light in Bai Hao's eyes grew even brighter. He was completely convinced. This guy Lin Feng must have a lot of food at home. How about agreeing to him? Junjun should understand me, right? Lin Feng, watching the changes in their expressions, found it amusing. He naturally understood Jiang Qingshua's meaning. This guy Bai Hao should be about to crack. He even agreed to the friend request. He didn't directly kill Bai Hao and forcibly take Song Wanjun, only because Lin Feng thought it was fun after all. He had some interesting ideas that he hadn't had the chance to put into practice yet. This Bai Hao really does look like a cuckold. If you've thought it through, come to my place. Lin Feng left these words and turned to leave with his little maid. Watching his carefree back, Bai Hao's expression shifted. Before long, Lin Feng and his companion arrived at the underground parking garage. Quite a few people had gathered there, with items laid out everywhere. Residents hoping to barter. The apocalypse had been going on for a while, and the fact that this trading fair could still be maintained had something to do with Lin Feng. The fat woman he had killed made almost everyone in the community aware that a gunman was lurking in the shadows. It was also because of this that the community hadn't quickly descended into chaos. However, as supplies gradually dwindled, this order would soon collapse. Lin Feng scanned the area and spotted many familiar faces. With his sharp eyes, he quickly found Chunya not far away. Compared to before, Chunya was in a sorry state. Her once bright little face was now pale and weak, and her hair was a mess. If Lin Feng hadn't happened to be facing her directly, he probably wouldn't have recognized her. In front of Chun, squatted a petite young girl. The girl's face was relatively clean, but her eyes were somewhat vacant, probably from hunger. It made sense. Though the disaster hadn't been going on for long, a week was enough to deplete some people's reserves. After all, not every household cooked their own meals. Many people ate all 3 meals in the cafeteria.